Today's short is being brought to you by Goya Foods. If it's Goya, it has to be good.
Your daily game plan for success. It's Sachs in the Morning. Steve Sachs.
Hi, Steve Sachs here with Sachs in the Morning. And today is Monday, the 17th of October. And coming off a great week last week, I'll tell you what, it was fun throwing out the first pitch at the NLDS, the National League Divisional Series game with the Dodgers and the Padres, 52,000 people there. It was a lot of fun. So anyway, we're going to be talking about some things this week about overcoming fear. And we all know that sometimes people make that a big secret, but no need for it to be that way. Everybody's going to go through it. But we want to talk about that in the 3 different spots this week. And we're going to finish it off on Thursday with a friend of mine, Patti Palamidessi, who was actually my boss a long time ago when I worked in a restaurant. And she's written a book called The Other 4-Letter Word. This is an incredible story that this woman has about facing her fears through medical challenges that she's had throughout her life. It's really an amazing thing. But first today, on this Monday, we're going to talk about a few things to get over fear, to conquer it, a few things that I've learned in my life, and also a few tips from the great Tony Robbins. So that's where we're going to begin today. One is to accept you'll fail, okay? Now, does that mean that you're going to say that it's okay if you fail? It's okay if you have fears about failing? Is that stuff okay? Well, it's not what it's really meaning. It means that it's inevitably going to happen, right? And if you look at it, failure is, in my estimation, is part of the sequence to becoming successful, because I think people have to bounce off the fence of failure sometime to find out where the boundaries are. And as a matter of fact, failure is one of the fastest ways of learning. I mean, ask any toddler. You'd never see a toddler staying up all night reading the How to Walk manual, right? They just get up and they flop and they crawl and they flop some more. And statistically, when they're going through the process, there's more bumps and steps, more failures than success, but it never dampens their enthusiasm. They just come back and want to keep doing it, right? When have you ever heard a kid come up to his parents and say, hey, Mom and Dad, can't wait someday to work my way up to middle management? They don't want to do that. They want to be lion tamers and ballerinas and all these great, wonderful things. And, you know, watch a kid for 5 minutes. It's frightening. They can't walk. They can't talk. They got their hair all messed up, food all over their face, can't get their binky in their mouth, and they keep falling down and coming back with a bunch of big smiles on their face, because the enthusiasm is the thing that's going to get you through those tough times. And remember, it's not the acceptance of it, but it's how you respond to it. If you respond to fear without cowering down and realize that it's going to happen to everybody, you got a sense of just hanging in there and staying in the game. I always think this, that failure is not the worst thing, because the worst thing, I think, is never knowing how great you can be, never knowing that you could change the world. Yeah, you could. And if you can get on that pony and kick it and right into the teeth of what's possible, even though failure lurks around the corner, if you love it that much and failure is not the worst thing, that's the part that you really need to celebrate. And also remember that sometimes admitting that you have an issue that you have to fix and kind of even getting it out in the open in front of yourself, just admitting it to yourself, can be an enormous lift, like a piano off your back. It's almost like when somebody has an issue in other forms, maybe it's a drinking issue or some kind of dependency issue. If they can admit the issue is there, that's the first step in conquering it. You know, kind of flushing it out of the closet, getting it out there so you can look at it and biting it right back in the face and challenging it. I think that is a very liberating situation for people that almost want to hide their failures or make excuses for it or ignore it. To get it out there and flush it out is a very liberating instance for you, in a way that you can put this thing on, put a spotlight on it and knock it down and conquer it. And I also think it's really important to watch out for fears that are disguised as excuses. Because lots of times, as human beings, we'll do that type of thing. We'll take an excuse and make that the issue instead of something that you're fearful of. And remember this kind of old saying that God will put opportunities in your life disguised as obstacles. And sometimes we get scared. We get fearful of those obstacles, thinking we can't do this. It's insurmountable. Nothing is. Nothing really is. And it's all about how you perceive it, how you think about it. But just remember this. Preparation is the antidote for fear in this regard. Because once you do your preparation, you're not in charge of the rest of the stuff. God has a plan for that, and you only have control of how you prepare and how you react to what happens. That's it. You have no other choice in it. So go prepare and give the rest up. And that's my show for today. If you like what you heard, give us a positive review, subscribe, and share. Also, remember that the Sax in the Morning swag is now available on my Instagram site. Go to saxinthemorning_podcast. You'll see it right there on the Instagram, and just hit the link. Everything's there, mugs, hats, tumblers, you name it. Take advantage of it. And thanks to Al Hendrickson Toyota for their support of this podcast. And be sure to visit alhendricksontoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.